PeterWHuber, The Bottomless Well, The Twilight of Fuel, The Virtue of Waste, and Why We Will Never Run Out of Energy. The Bottomless Well, The Twilight of Fuel, The Virtue of Waste, and Why We Will Never Run Out of Energy by Peter W. Huber explores the misconceptions and myths surrounding energy consumption and supply. This book summary delves into issues such as the energy supply's limitless nature, the false perception of a dwindling fuel source, and the largely misunderstood role of transportation in energy demand. Challenging conventional thinking, Huber provides important insights into our energy future and the benefits of waste and consumption, while discussing the potential consequences of our actions.
The true cost of energy consumption. The aftermath of the 3 Mile Island nuclear accident and the 1979 oil crisis forced the U.S. to reevaluate its energy policies. But rather than adapt and change its reliance on traditional energy supplies, the country increased its consumption of coal. Today, despite advancements in energy efficiency, demand for power in the U.S. continues to rise. Secretary of Defense James R. Schlesinger predicted the bleak future of energy in 1979, and his warning rings true today. Energy, debunking 3 myths. The notion of energy running out is a fallacy that hinges on 3 common misconceptions. Firstly, the supply is virtually limitless, and what is scarce is energetic order. Secondly, consumption begets more energy rather than relying on discovering new reserves or increasing efficiency. Lastly, transportation is not the primary energy demand. Instead, refining, discovering, processing, and delivering take up most of the energy. The energy debate. Most traditional experts criticize 7 heresies about energy, including the rising cost of energy production and the misconception that waste is always bad. Efficient energy consumption fuels demand, while American manufacturing continues to thrive with productive labor. Contrary to popular belief, fuel supplies are not running out. America's energy consumption contributes to global stability and ecology preservation. The Bottomless Energy Well. In this book summary, the author highlights how the energy industry has evolved over the years, but the process of extracting raw materials to produce energy continues endlessly. The consumption of energy begets more energy, making the energy well bottomless. The author argues that the more energy we use, the more adept we become at finding and utilizing still more. For the foreseeable future, burning more hydrocarbons and uranium remains the only practical policy to limit the buildup of carbon dioxide in the air. Furthermore, electricity drives the perpetual energy machine, with the majority of energy in the United States consumed based on a 40/30/30 pattern. The author also sheds light on the fact that since 1980, the U.S. has met more than 85% of its new energy needs with growth in the electricity industry, which is continuously expanding, partly due to the introduction of hybrid electric cars. Embracing energy waste. The author contends that waste and productivity are interconnected. To illustrate the point, the author uses the example of the laser, which burns light to make light, and argues that throwing most of the energy away enables the remaining energy to be used productively. Moving further up the energy stream reveals a trail of energy dissipation, from the power equipment that generates electricity for the laser to the enormous generator in a utility power plant that only converts half of coal's energy into electricity. Despite the inefficiency and waste inherent in the process, the author argues that energy waste and energy use are 2 sides of the same coin. To use energy is to also waste some, and energy waste can lead to productive outcomes such as saving a human life on the operating table. Finally, the author posits that no conceivable mix of solar, biomass, or wind technology could meet current energy demands without doubling the human footprint on the surface of the continent. America's energy future. America's energy consumption is a vital driver of the country's productivity. The use of digital power, robots, and networked factories are the key to America's continued success in the global market. Despite the efficiency paradox, where greater efficiency leads to greater consumption, the productivity paradox works in favor of the American workforce. More power leads to increased productivity. Energy consumption generates significant benefits such as time savings, creating order, controlling chaos, and powering digital logic. Even though the U.S. uses energy to wage war, nuclear power plants in naval vessels are an important component of national security. However, America still has room for improvement in managing its carbon footprint. Overall, America's energy future looks to be bright as long as innovation and productivity remain at the forefront. From Chaos to Coherence. The book promotes a positive perspective on the impact of human activity on the environment, stating that transitioning to coal, oil, and uranium has been a triumph. America's reforestation showcases the potential of using technology and power to counteract global warming's effects, with the U.S. adding lumber-quality trees more quickly than they are harvested. Nuclear power is a viable alternative, with the energy available on the planet being virtually infinite. The author argues that electricity will become cheaper, and technology will continue to develop, allowing humans to consume more energy while finding more energy available simultaneously.
Huber's The Bottomless Well offers a refreshing perspective on energy by refuting common myths and misconceptions. He sheds light on the monumental influence of energy in enhancing productivity, creating order, and shaping our world. The seemingly counterintuitive conclusions reached in this book, such as the intertwined relationship between energy consumption and energy waste or better energy policy being a key driver for environmental improvements, demonstrate that our beliefs about energy may be holding society back from realizing its full potential. By understanding the true nature of energy, we can begin to harness it more effectively and progress forward as a society.